Good morning, boys and girls. Yesterday's coffee mug was Mickey Mouse. Watch today what the coffee mug is. And I'd also like to introduce my little puppy named Bella. She's not really a puppy. She's 9 years old. But she's a Havanese, which is an hypoallergenic dog. So my husband, who's allergic to dogs, is not allergic to Bella. And Bella's something called a Velcro dog, which means she gets really attached to one person. And I'm so lucky I'm her person. So she loves me. And a lot of times she comes and sits by me, or even just walks around. If I'm putting laundry away, she walks and puts it away with me. So here's Bella. All right, and now for chapter 2 of Friendship According to Humphrey. It's called Upset Pet. I'd had a bad days before. The worst day was when Miss Mac left. She was the substitute teacher who found me at Petorama and brought me to room 26. She almost broke my heart by moving to Brazil, which is so far away. I'd also overcome problems before, like getting Miss Brisbane and her husband Bert to go from not liking me to liking me a whole lot. But I never had a problem like this: how to make friends with a frog. Back in my early days at Petorama, I'd met guinea pigs, mice, rats, gerbils, and chinchillas in the small pet department. If there were frogs around, they must have been over with the fish and less interesting pets. After school was over, Mrs. Brisbane gathered up her coat, gloves, and books, walked over to Og and me, and said, "Well, fellows, you're on your own tonight. Have fun." And with that, she left. I recalled the first night I was alone in room 26. As it slowly got dark outside, I slowly got scared inside. I would have liked a friend to talk to that night. Maybe Og felt the same way. Like Tabitha, Og was new to the class, and I thought I should try to make friends with him. Mrs. Brisbane had said it's not easy to be new. You should always listen to your teacher. "Don't worry, Og," I squeaked to him. "They'll all be back tomorrow, and Aldo will be here later." I waited for an answer. All I heard was silence. I knew he probably couldn't understand me. Still, I learned to understand what humans said, and for the most part, they seemed to understand me when I chose to squeak up. Surely I could do as well with a frog. I decided to try again. "Can you hear me?" I squeaked as loudly as possible. Either he couldn't hear me or he was just plain rude. I couldn't see him all the way from my cage. What with my wheel, my ladders, tree branches, sleeping house, and mirror. Since I knew Aldo wouldn't come in to clean the room for hours, I decided to introduce myself. As an experienced and well-loved classroom pet, I could share my wealth of knowledge about the schedule, the students, and the studies in room 26. Og could come to me for advice whenever he wanted. After all, you can learn a lot by taking care of another species, as Miss Mac told me. Surely that included frogs. I easily opened the door to my cage. It has a lock that doesn't lock. However, I'm the only one who knows about it. To humans, it looks like it's tightly latched, but trust me, it's not. "I'm coming over, Og," I announced. Again, there was no response. I scampered over to meet my new roommate anyway. The glass tank had a big dish of water on one side and pebbles and plants on the other. There was a screen over the top. Sitting under a large green plant was a large green lump. I tiptoed over to the glass and peered in. The lump was even uglier than I first thought, at least compared to me. After all, I'm a golden hamster with soft fur, dark, inquisitive eyes, and a little pink nose. Intelligent humans such as Miranda Golden and Sayena Sari have told me I am cute. This Og thing, on the other hand, was a sickening shade of green with bulging eyes and not a bit of fur on him. Even worse, he had a huge mouth, as wide as his whole body, that curved up at the ends as if he were trying to grin. He didn't look happy, just creepy. I tried not to shudder. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am your neighbor, Humphrey," I squeaked as politely as possible. No answer. Maybe he couldn't hear me. After all, he didn't have cute rounded ears like mine. He didn't seem to have ears at all, but at least he could see I was acting in a friendly manner. "Og!" Stepping closer, I squeaked a bit louder this time. "Even though we don't know each other, I'm happy to extend the paw of friendship." Then, with no warning at all, Og lunged right at me and let out a very loud boing. I must have leaped a foot backwards. Og couldn't get through the glass, but goodness, he startled me. I was only trying to be friendly, I told him, backing up towards my cage. Boing! He sounded like a broken guitar string. I sneaked a peek at him. Was that a grin? A leer? Or a sneer? My heart was still pounding as I darted back into my cage and slammed the door behind me. Some friend Og was scaring me like that. I tried to put myself in his shoes, like Miss Brisbane said, but he didn't wear any. Neither did I, for that matter. I grabbed the tiny notebook and pencil from behind my mirror. Miss Mack gave them to me. No one in room 26 knew about them. No one knew I could read and write. Writing helps me sort out my thoughts. And I had a lot of thoughts rolling around my brain that night, not all of them nice. I scribbled away for several hours, and Og was pretty quiet, except for some annoying splashing. Goodness, I can manage to groom myself and get a drink of water without making that much noise. Suddenly the room filled with a blazing light, and I heard a familiar clang, clang, clang. It was the Longfellow School custodian, Aldo Amato.